The security camera feed on my phone showed Sophia Montgomery strutting through my kitchen like she owned it, her perfectly manicured fingers trailing across the pristine stainless steel counters I'd personally selected. Behind her, my husband James nodded enthusiastically as she pointed at various equipment, probably explaining how outdated everything was. Ms. John. My executive assistant Michael cleared his throat. The investors are waiting in the conference room. Just watching my husband give his ex-girlfriend free reign over my flagship restaurant, I replied, switching off the feed. Apparently, she needs a proper venue to film her culinary influencer comeback series. Michael's expression tightened. Does Mr. Rothschild know that you, Taste Enterprises, control the supply chain for every major restaurant in the city? Built a billion-dollar hospitality empire while everyone thought I was just cooking in a small kitchen. I straightened my channel jacket. No, and he's about to learn in the most delicious way possible. The restaurant industry had always been dominated by men who thought women belonged in home kitchens, not professional ones. But while they were busy appearing on cooking shows and promoting their personal brands, I was quietly building an empire, restaurant by restaurant, supplier by supplier, until Taste Enterprises controlled everything from the finest dining establishments to the farms that supplied their ingredients. They never bothered to investigate who owned Taste Enterprises. After all, what could Elena Jean, the quiet chef who married into the Rothschild restaurant dynasty, possibly know about building a business empire? Sophia's team called again, Michael reported as we walked to the conference room. They want to start filming next week. They're planning to modernize the kitchen first. How thoughtful of her to renovate my kitchen without asking. I smiled tightly. Tell them the schedule is clear, and make sure our legal team is standing by. The investor meeting was brief, just finalizing our acquisition of the last remaining Rothschild restaurant properties. James's father, William Rothschild, had signed them over yesterday, probably without reading the fine print about the parent company. Elena. James's call came just as we were wrapping up. Darling, we need to discuss something about the restaurant. Can't talk now, I cut in, using my flustered chef voice. The lunch service is about to start, and you know how crazy it gets. Right, your little kitchen. He sounded distracted. Listen, Sophia has this amazing concept for a cooking series, and since your restaurant has that charming, rustic look, you offered her my kitchen as a filming location. I kept my voice carefully neutral. Just for a few weeks, and she has brilliant ideas for updating everything. Says the current setup is too, what did she call it? Amateur? I suggested, thinking of my custom-designed, state-of-the-art kitchen. That's it. She's thinking something more befitting the Rothschild name. Oh, and she mentioned your menu might need some updating too. Something more influencer-friendly. James, I interrupted softly. Have you given Sophia permission to change my menu? Well, your food is a bit traditional, isn't it? And with Sophia's social media following. I see. I checked my watch. I need to go. Lunch service. Of course. That little rush hour of yours. Sophia says she can recommend some management consultants. I ended the call and turned to Michael. How long until the Rothschild properties officially transfer? Final paperwork processes at midnight. Perfect. I pulled up the security feed again, watching Sophia instruct her team to start measuring my kitchen for new equipment. Time to remind everyone why the chef's word is law in her kitchen. The next day, I arrived at my restaurant just as Sophia's renovation team was beginning to dismantle my custom pizza oven, imported from Naples and worth more than her entire social media career. The aesthetic is all wrong, she was telling James. My followers expect something more. Instagram-worthy. Interesting critique, I said from the doorway, enjoying how they both startled. Considering this kitchen was designed by the same team that builds for Gordon Ramsay. James hurried forward. Elena, shouldn't you be prepping for lunch? We were just dismantling my kitchen without permission. I stepped inside, noting the construction plans spread across my prep station, changing my menu without consulting the chef. Your kitchen? Sophia's perfectly glossed lips curved into a condescending smile. This is a Rothschild restaurant. James's family owns the whole chain. Actually, I pulled out my tablet. As of midnight, all Rothschild properties transfer to Taste Enterprises, including this restaurant, the catering company, and yes, even the supply chain you were planning to use for your influencer-friendly menu. James's face went slack. Taste Enterprises, but that's my company, I finished. Well, one of them. Did you really never wonder how I managed to maintain perfect food costs? Or why suppliers always gave us priority during shortages? This is absurd, Sophia scoffed. James, tell her. Tell me what? I pulled up the property transfer documents. That his father signed over everything yesterday. That the Rothschild restaurant empire is now effectively under my control. But you're just a chef, James stammered. I'm a chef who owns restaurants, I corrected, along with food supply companies, property holdings, and as of today, every restaurant the Rothschild family once claimed, including this one. Sophie's designer handbag slipped off my immaculate prep station. You can't. Can't what? Build a business. Understand finance. Sorry to disappoint, but while you were building your Instagram following, I was building something real. James leaned against my prep station, his expensive suit suddenly looking out of place in a kitchen he'd never bothered to understand. All this time, you were running a restaurant empire. Among other things, I replied, watching Sophia's renovation team awkwardly pack up their tools. While you were busy being a restaurant hair, and she was counting likes on Instagram, I was revolutionizing the industry. But you're always here, Sophia gestured around the kitchen. Cooking, doing prep work, getting your hands dirty. Because that's what real chefs do. We don't just pose with plates for social media. I moved to my spice rack, the one her team had marked for removal. Besides, the kitchen is where the real conversations happen, where deals are made, secrets are shared, and reputations are built or broken. Like how the Rothschild restaurants had been losing money for years, propped up by their name alone. How James's father had been desperately seeking investors. How Sophia's comeback was less about passion for food and more about accessing the Rothschild resources. The supply chain issues last summer, James said slowly, when every restaurant in the city struggled except ours. Amazing what you can accomplish when you actually own the supply chain, I said, straightening a line of perfectly polished copper pots, though you never did ask how I managed that. Sophia's camera-ready smile faltered. My series sponsors are all subsidiaries of Taste Enterprises, I confirmed. Your exclusive partnerships, your supplier deals, even the kitchen equipment companies you plan to feature, all mine. Why? James pushed away from the prep station. Why keep this secret, even from me? Would you have married me if you knew? I challenged. Or would you have seen me as another Sophia, someone trying to climb the culinary social ladder? His silence was deafening over the soft hum of my professional refrigerators. And after we married, I continued, every time I stayed late testing recipes, every supplier meeting, would you have believed I was actually working? Or would you have assumed I was playing the same games Sophia did? That's different, Sophia protested. I left the industry to build my brand. You left because no serious kitchen would hire you after that disaster at Le Cirque, I corrected. The one where you tried to change the menu without the head chef's permission. Sound familiar? James' eyes widened. Is that why you really came back? Oh, I smiled. Did she not mention that her influencer career is failing? Or that her comeback plan relied heavily on accessing Rothschild resources? Sophia's professionally whitened teeth clenched. You don't understand. Actually, I understand perfectly. You wanted the prestige without the work. The title without the talent. I gestured around my kitchen. Well, now you know who really earned their place here. Elena. James stepped forward. I never meant to. To what? Give your ex control of my kitchen without asking. Plan to change my menu without consulting me. Dismiss everything I've built as traditional and charming. I maintain my professional tone, the one I use with difficult customers. Or never bother to really know what your wife was capable of. The silence was broken only by the gentle whoosh of my ventilation system, also marked for removal in Sophia's renovation plans. The camera crew can pack up, I said finally. You have until service starts to clear out. Clear out? Sophia's voice rose. But my comeback series is canceled, I finished. Unless you'd like to explain to your followers why you're filming in a kitchen you don't own, with equipment you can't access. James straightened his tie, summoning his businessman demeanor. Now wait. As your husband. As my husband, I cut and you have exactly as much influence in this kitchen as I allow. Which, after today's performance, is none. You can't just throw us out, Sophia protested. The Rothschild name still means something in the culinary world. Yes, I agreed. It means overpriced meals, outdated techniques, and a reputation built on inherited glory. Meanwhile, Taste Enterprises, I smiled. That means actual excellence. I turned to her crew. Please ensure all equipment is returned to its proper place. Any damages will be billed to your production company, which incidentally also depends on my suppliers. And the renovations? One worker asked hesitantly. Cancelled. Though I'm sure Sophia can find another charming kitchen to make over. I paused. Just not any of the ones I know, which is most of them in this city. Most of them, James echoed weakly. Check tomorrow's industry news, I suggested. I believe there's going to be an interesting announcement about Taste Enterprises' latest acquisitions. By dinner service, my kitchen had returned to its pristine state, humming with the efficient energy that had made us the city's most respected restaurant. I stood at my command station, watching the culinary news coverage on my tablet. Breaking news in the restaurant industry, the reporter announced, as Taste Enterprises acquires the historic Rothschild Restaurant Group, marking an unprecedented shift in the city's culinary landscape. My phone buzzed with messages from the entire Rothschild family. William Rothschild wanted an emergency meeting. His wife, Margaret, suggested brunch to sort out this little misunderstanding. Even James's chef brothers suddenly wanted to collaborate with their sister-in-law. Chef, my sous chef David, appeared at my side. Mr. Montgomery is here, about Sophia. Send him to my office. I handed control of the line to David, straightening my chef's coat. Richard Montgomery, Sophia's father and owner of a failing restaurant review website, waited in my office. His Italian soup couldn't hide the desperation in his expression. The same look I'd seen on countless food critics who'd underestimated me. Elena, he attempted a warm smile. Or should I say, chief executive chef. Either works, though you once preferred that Asian girl cooking basic food. He winced. About those reviews and other things. Perhaps we could discuss a mutually beneficial arrangement. Like the arrangement you planned with James, using my kitchen to relaunch Sophia's career while sabotaging my reputation. Just business, he said quickly. Surely a successful businesswoman like yourself understands. I understand perfectly. You discovered the Rothschilds were losing their grip on the industry, so you pulled Sophia back before she could tie herself to a sinking ship. Now you found out who really holds the power, and suddenly you want to negotiate. The review website, he began, will continue to lose relevance, I finished, as Taste Enterprises launches its own review platform. Sophia's comeback won't change that. She's very sorry about the kitchen, he tried. The renovation plans were just symptoms of a larger problem. I stood up. For years, people like you have judged kitchens based on names rather than quality, valuing social media presence over actual skill. Those days are over. A knock interrupted us. James stood there, still in his suit but looking somehow smaller. Elena, can we talk? Richard practically jumped up. James, perhaps we could discuss. I think, James said quietly, enough people have discussed my wife's kitchen without her input. After Richard left, James remained standing, taking in the office he'd once dismissed as my paperwork room. The restaurant, he said finally. It's not just a neighborhood spot, is it? It's the flagship of my empire, like all my restaurants. And all those late nights you spent testing recipes. Board meetings, acquisitions, building something real while you and Sophia planned to turn it into a social media backdrop. He flinched. I never meet. To treat me like I was beneath you. I finished. To assume I couldn't understand your world of fine dining and business. To let your ex-girlfriend try to destroy everything I've built. I was going to say, I never meant to forget why I fell in love with your cooking in the first place. And why was that, James? Because you cared about the food, not the fame. I studied him for a moment. The sad thing is, I would have shared everything with you if you'd ever shown real interest in my work. If you'd ever seen me as a partner instead of just a talented chef you married. And now? Now, I pulled at the property transfers on my tablet. Now you get to decide what matters more. Your family's reputation or learning to build something meaningful. What do you mean? I mean I'm offering you a choice. Keep playing restaurant royalty with Sophia or learn the business properly, starting at the bottom. The bottom. Prep cook. Every chef in my organization starts there. learning nice skills, inventory, basic techniques, understanding what it really takes to run a professional kitchen. Like you did. Like I still do, I gestured to my chef's coat. Why do you think I never gave up my place on the line? He was quiet for a moment, looking around at the empire his wife had built while he wasn't paying attention. When do I start? Tomorrow, 5 a.m. Prep starts early. As he turned to leave, he paused. The restaurant is still yours too, I said quietly. If you earn it. Not because of your name, but because of your work. After he left, I returned to my kitchen, watching the dinner service flow smoothly. Somewhere out there, Sophia was probably planning her next social media strategy. The Rothschilds were likely calling their lawyers. The Montgomerys were reorganizing their review website. But here, in this kitchen, in this restaurant I'd built while being underestimated, I finally felt truly acknowledged. Not as a lucky chef who married well, not as a Rothschild wife, but as Elena Zhang, the woman who built a culinary empire while keeping her hands in the kitchen. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just proving people wrong. It's giving them a chance to prove themselves worthy of the kitchen they thought they were entitled to. I picked up my phone and texted James, "Don't forget your knives tomorrow. And yes, you'll have to learn to sharpen them yourself."